Hi, Craig Urquhart here, and welcome to another Berlin Conversations. Today I'm very honored to have an old friend, Wolf-Dieter Karwatky. Wolf-Dieter is one of the world's finest recording engineers, and we have just been working on a new album of mine, which I'm very honored that he agreed to work with me on. And I just want to welcome him to Berlin, and we're just going to have a little conversation. So, Wolf-Dieter, so
Hello,
great to
Craig.
have you
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And I just want to impress everybody. How many Grammys have you won?
Okay, in all these years, it was quite a long time with Deutsche Grammophon. It's 7 Grammys and 3 awards.
That's pretty impressive.
That's quite something
Yeah,
already. Yeah.
so-
And it was a lot of work, and sometimes it's nice to get something as
important
feedback.
as that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
incredible.
Yeah.
And it's such an honor for me to
Yeah.
have you and I working together because, I mean, you can work with just about anybody in the world, and you have. And,
I had it, and
and you still do. Yeah.
I still do. I'm not more the youngest, but okay, it was fortunate also to work with all these famous people when I joined Deutsche Grammophon. At this time, most or a lot of famous conductors, singers, soloists came to Deutsche Grammophon. So
And we
I
met
had-
because of your work with Deutsche
Yes.
Grammophon, because you
Yeah.
were part of Leonard Bernstein's recording team.
recording team, yes,
And
yes.
I spent many a time in that recording booth with you and
Yeah.
the team, and in Vienna and New York and
I mean,
Israel and
Israel, Vienna,
London.
London, yeah.
recording Jubilee games.
Yeah. For example, yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of places to find out how it sounds, to get the best out of it. But we was fortunate, I mean, with Lenny as a conductor, it was, for us, musically, it was a challenge, and it was always exciting. I don't know, Craig, how you, when you work with him behind, how difficult it was sometimes to get Lenny to the places, etc. But for us, it was always, we were looking forward for a recording with him, how he instrumented the orchestra, how he worked with the orchestra, and the way he was talking also to the orchestra. It was, for us, an exciting moment. I mean, I think for every recording engineer, which are a little closer also to the scene of the conductors.
And he had, I don't know other conductors, but he really demanded to record his concerts live, right?
Yes. You see it also, I mean, in all these recording sessions we did, we had also other live recording with Böhm, Giulini, Abbado, etc. But the way Lenny came on stage, it was different. The flair, the movement, it was really catching that the audience is not only waiting for the music what come, but the person also on stage was, for me, important. And like other famous conductors, they came to conducting, but it was not this kind of tension, let's say it this way. It was great.
So it was, well, you've worked with all the great
Yeah.
conductors, as you
Yeah,
just
Karajan,
mentioned, Böhm,
Abbado,
Abbado,
Sinopoli.
Boulez,
Yeah,
and then
everything.
the other great maestro,
Yes, yes.
Mr. Herbert von Karajan.
Also
Right, yeah.
with Karajan on the beginning, and at this time, I mean, it was also a different time in recording business. There was Decca had a Decca sound, so it was only Decca engineers. It was not like today when the big companies no more exist. They buy things or use different. But at this time, it was a Decca sound, the Deutsche Grammophon sound, the Philips sound. Everybody had an idea how to do it. And so the teams, they build up teams. If somebody was working good with Karajan or with it was also a relation. If you go to a recording session, it's not sitting in a bank. you are closer to the musicians, so it has to be fit. Yeah.
Right.
So I was also part to Karajan, and then for some reason I don't know exactly. Suddenly, I think it was Joachim Nys, a former recording. He died, and then this was so far. I remember the moment when I joined the team of Leonard Bernstein. Yeah.
And that was you.
Yeah.
You did so many recordings with
yes,
him.
I did. I can't remember all the recording. It did a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
It wasn't always easy.
I
remember when you were recording Mahler 5
yes.
in Frankfurt.
In Frankfurt, yeah.
That was a difficult...
It was also the location. It was a kind of setup. It was, from the beginning, it was not too good. But this was, yeah.
That was
not
an
always.
exception.
It was an exception.
Yeah.
So the others in Vienna, in London,
Mm-hmm.
wherever we did it in Tel Aviv, it was a different story. It was, yes, I'm sure he was not so easy or in many ways, but what he did for us, for the audience on stage, it was for us and for the for the audience. But sure, in his life, maybe there are moments which are.
Oh yeah, I mean he's only human. Yeah,
yeah. He's also a human, and I have to say, once when we did recordings in New York, very often after finished at 10:30, well, he has come with us to my home, and he was sitting. He don't like to bed early.
No.
So it was very nice to sometimes till 4, 5 in the morning. He had let's call it lectures about this and that, and we were sitting on the floor, some pick up food. It was very leisure and a wonderful atmosphere. You even if it was late, you don't want to leave. Yeah.
No, I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I had to get up the next morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We had to.
You had to work too.
We had to work too, but maybe not as early as you then. Yeah.
But yeah, no, those were interesting times, and so what is the process? What to be what is it mean?
Yeah, okay. I mean,
it's for different recordings and everything, I'm sure. But
yes. I mean, it's okay. I mean, after a while, you know how you have to function, how to deal with all this with the technique, and you don't. How to say? You don't get the wheel done every time.
You don't recreate the wheel.
Recreate the wheel. Yeah, that's exactly. And so you have, after a while, you have ideas how to set up something, and sometimes you have to readjust something to get. But and even so, if you work with an artist for a long time, you know what he wants. And even if you go to the same location, even if the music is different, you know already the setup. And today, also with the modern microphones we have, or I use now, it's the microphone had 2 capsules, so you can change the direction of the mic later on in the studio by changing the faders. So you don't have to step inside, changing microphone in the middle of. The shallow section and try to not to break something.
Well, you've been in the recording business for quite a few decades, and so when you started, it was still relatively in its infancy.
It was tube versions. Really, the preamplifiers for things. It was tubes, and it was huge and heavy
And tape.
I mean, it was stereo. The first recordings are done in stereo. Then it came a 4-canal machine, Lyric I remember this was the first machine. It came from Denmark. Lyric it was called. And we did at least the orchestra and the solo is separate. Yeah. To just, or it was also used for quadrophony something was existing at this time also, an idea. And then later on it came 8-track, 16-track, but everything still analog. And then as a Sony came with 16-track, 24-track, and then the digital time was coming in, which makes it also easy for us to, or easier to edit. You see, in the old days with a scissor.
Yeah, or a little razor.
Or a little razor, but sometimes, I mean, if
blade.
there was, let's say, a horn was hanging over and we should have to edit, you couldn't erase it. It was a plop. So you have to a crossfade mechanically. It's called a long arrow and put this like this together to have a crossfade to match with the sound.
And you were able to do that with tape?
With tape, yes, yes. And I realized then later I need classes. So I mean, you have to put it together. And at this time also, you don't edit so much like in our days now. I mean, it was simply not possible. And sometimes when we transferred the old tapes, analog tapes, to digital, I saw, you see, it was a white splice. You see when a splice was passing by on the head of the tape recorder, how less.
Oh, how many less edits you did.
And they had to play in bigger chunks to manage it. Okay, sometimes what I said, it was difficult for some reason. Yeah, live recordings, a cough or whatever, and you don't want to have, and then you try to manage it somehow. Yeah, and yeah, it was this kind of to hear the beginning of the, and yeah, you have to get your ears. You learned how it has to be, and it was. And today it's you just crossfade, dum 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 dum.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
And unfortunately, people love to edit, also musicians.
Yeah, I do know people that, they will do every 4 measures and different.
I know this. Yeah. I know this, and I told you once a person, but anyway, I don't say.
We don't
public,
have to talk about the name. Yeah.
But it's simply too much for me, and I think musicians, when they go on stage, they want to perform the music on this day. I'm sure a year later, maybe they have a different idea. But this is a very, for me, musical approach. It's not, music is not in stone things, yeah. And I think it's music is alive from every day to another, may change, etc. That's why music, what we do in classical, it's music is written 100 years ago, whatever, or even more. But it's recorded again and again. Yeah, if there's one perfect recording,
right.
So you say that's it. But it's no perfect recording. I think every time has a little different. You see, sometimes people like it more reverberant. Some like it less. Some, I mean, all this kind of tempi, whatever. It's wonderful that this kind of thing exists.
It's living. It's a living entity.
Yes,
music.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
it can't be set in stone.
No way.
And there is no perfect performance.
Definitely not. If somebody say this is a perfect, I don't trust this kind of things. Yeah.
So, lately people have been going back to vinyl and analog and all this stuff. And, I find that a little suspect. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. In our days, selling CDs or whatever becomes more difficult. Everything is downloads on internet, and so this is also a little market. And they say that the vinyl was sounding better, and this is definitely not true. But I have to say, the very first CDs, the technique was not so good. The filters, it was a little sharp, and but this is now, forget this. This is now perfect. But when we did a test, you listen to the original 2-track mixed master and the LP, the vinyl, and there was a difference in stereo wide. The tape was like this, wider, and the vinyl was little, not as wide, left, right. Yeah, but this has to do with the mechanical cutting of the master. Yeah. So I think it's okay. I mean, everybody has a certain taste and belief in things, but I think in our days the digital technique is so good that I prefer, I have to say, a good recording in a good hall with good musician in digital. It's a perfect choice.
And even though people don't buy CDs anymore, they weigh a lot less than.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a Mahler Bernstein set of LPs sent to me. It was so heavy.
Yes. Okay. I mean, at home I had at the time when I started, it was definitely LP, and we get from every release we got a copy, and I had hundreds of LPs. So I remember when the CD time came, also we got CDs, samples. I had to put everything in the cellar. It was really heavy. Yeah, I kept it. I kept it for whatever. Yeah, but you don't give this kind of things away for. If you have room, it's nice to keep it. Yeah, but in general, to do it this now, it's a small market to that people think, this was when I was young.
Maybe it's a nostalgia kind of thing. Yeah.
And I mean, Deutsche Grammophon, I think it was at this time a very good thing when the CD came out. They print exactly the same cover and they copy just from analog to digital and make a CD with the same cover. So a lot of people changed. They want to have the same music with the same cover. And I think that's why the record companies at this, on the beginning, it was quite wealthy. For them. I mean,
I remember the times of the private jets.
You know how much an opera recording cost also. And this was just to transfer something to, and they sold it for the same price. And this gave us in the recording business the chance to do a lot of recordings. Yeah, this was incredible that the money was there and wonderful artists, and to record with the new media things. Yeah, it was a good time.
And you've worked with some of the greatest soloists in the world. I know you worked with Martha Argerich.
And also I did one of the only recording with Horowitz and Giulini, Mozart. Yeah.
Oh, you did those recordings?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
And it was, this guy, it was I think he did some solo. It was the only recording in his late life that he was with an orchestra, and it was Mozart. Yeah.
Did you do the recording at his house?
No. It was in.
No, I'm not talking about the Mozart, but he did do. Horowitz did record.
Did something in his house. It was
Mozart. Horowitz at home.
At home, exactly. And it was American producer. Also, he did this in Milano with me. Yeah, and it was strange. He was a funny guy, I have to say. Especially also his woman. Yeah.
Oh, Wanda.
Wanda. Yes. There was a nice story. There was a nice boy next to him turning the pages, and he had a very green pullover, and he always said, "Why he is sitting next with this pullover?" I had no idea what was the reason. I mean, I had no problems with this pullover, and we had a camera on him and a screen to see if he's ready. So after, I think 2 hours of explaining why he was this screen. To get rid of this kind, I went to the television screen and did it black and white, and then it was. Then this course was finished. Yeah, but Yeah, it was a nice, interesting recording, and I remember it was Günter Priest was a producer, and I have to say also I had a camera on him. I thought maybe it was not so legal, but it was not used. It was a small camera, and then Günter Priest said we should film it. So at this time I was married to an Italian woman, and she was in the television, and the brother was a cameraman. Overnight we got the cameras, everything ready, and we filmed this kind of things. I think it's also on TV. Sometimes it was shown, to have a document on one of these last recordings with orchestra, and it was interesting. All these kind of things happen by.
Yeah, when you worked with Horowitz, you worked with Karajan, you worked with Polini,
whatever.
Abbado, you worked with Sinopoli.
Sinopoli, Böhm. Even I did my first in the 70s with Wilhelm Kempf. I did 2 recordings in Hanover in the Beethoven Saal. Okay, he was already in his 80s.
But
he was not. Sometimes he was not really perfect, and the producer said, "Can we do this again?" And he said, "No, I have to leave something for my critics." You see, I think when you know if you had this history, you can say this. I think if you are 20 years old, young, and you don't want to leave some error or not perfect, let's say it this way.
But do you think, I'm just wondering, do you think because the recording companies were so powerful and that then the public began to sort of demand perfection in recordings? Because when you listen to, excuse me, some of the old Schnabel recordings or Giesecke recordings, there's mistakes.
Sure.
And with the technique and everything, it became that you could splice and you could edit. Okay. And now we get these documents of these incredibly talented young pianists or violinists, but they're all note perfect.
It's like this, and also a very famous Russian cellist told me once, Rostropovich. I have to say it in German, but it is he spoke German with us with his Russian accent. Es muss gut, aber schmutzig sein. Good but dirty. That's what it meant. Not this kind of perfection. I agree with this.
Because some of these young pianists I know, they're just so they're not like that always in public. And it's just so note perfect and everything.
No, I think you should not have a really error in but this kind of creating a performance by editing after. I disagree with this kind of things. You should, you see, sometimes people, like pianists is young, they do so many different versions to have the chance afterwards to see, maybe. And what I said before, a performance is a performance, and it should be ready on the hand if it's a pianist, and to perform on this day, and not thinking about 6, 7, 8 months. Maybe the tempi was too slow, or maybe we have another take, and maybe all these kind of things. It's possible, and we have to work and we have to live with this. But I prefer that a performance is a performance on this day.
Yeah. Well, you also, if you start. I splice now and then too. But we like to work. You and I like to work together in the sense of we find a really good performance.
Yes.
Because then you have the long line. You have a concept.
Exactly. I had once an experience with Dumais, the violinist, and we had a recording with him. I think it was also Mozart sonatas, and it was not the whole movement. So he asked me just to put things together, so he has an idea about it. It was not a final edit. So without music, I just said, oh, this is good, this is good. With 3 edits maybe, I put each movement together. So after 1 year, the edited version came. And he asked me, what kind of takes you have used? It was a bow, you know. Maybe it was, he felt more comfortable without all the edits, yeah. I said, I have no idea what I did this time. Yeah. But what I want to say with this is, again, an artist should have ready for a performance and do the best he can do on this day in the studio or on stage when he performed for people or for the machines to record.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you prefer studio recordings or live performances, or you don't have a preference?
I have no preference.
Yeah.
I have no preference. Sometimes a studio recording makes sense, and sometimes, yeah, if on a live recording, it has to be prepared before. I mean, and sometimes you have this kind of noises in a hall. You don't know if somebody is sitting in front of he's coughing, and he can kill
the whole recording.
The whole recording.
Or snoring.
Or snoring, yeah, depends. Yeah. No, this is, I think both ways, the studio recording or live recording, have great moments. And sometimes a kind of disadvantage, what we just mentioned, if it's noisy from outside, and this disturbs. I mean, even it's a wonderful performance, and if somebody is coughing or this kind of things, and it's okay. I mean, if it's on a radio station and it's just once, it's gone.
Different.
But if you have it on a CD or LP or whatever, you listen to this, you're waiting already for the cough, and this is disturbing, I think. Yeah, if it's.
I remember one recording in Amsterdam with the Concertgebouw, one of the Schubert symphonies.
Yeah.
I think it was Schubert 5 or something. Yeah. Beautiful performance, but the audience couldn't contain themselves, and they started clapping before the end of the piece. Yeah. And sometimes with those live recordings, there's always one person who has to be the first one to clap.
And sure, and then.
Yeah.
The rest join in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has there ever been anything that's just been so hilarious when you're recording that was just were you there for the earthquake in Vienna?
No. I think there was nothing I can. Okay, there was once a recording. It was new for me, but it was New York. It was with Catherine Battle and Jimmy Devine somewhere in Harlem in a church, and we have just started an hour, and then there was a shooting outside, and one guy got killed, so we had to stop the recording. I mean, that's a
little unusual.
This we don't have in Hanover, so this was unusual. For me, a kind of interruption. It was sad. Yeah, but. I said this is maybe not New York, Harlem, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that if you do recordings in Carnegie Hall, you always have to deal with the subway.
Yeah. This is boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, everybody knows it, and hopefully the tram is coming on a fortissimo part, and not on you are lucky, but if it's pianism, okay, it's and also today with the digital things, you don't have the rumble of on a LP. You had some noise rumble, depending on how good your thing was. So sometimes noises were covered by the noise of the LP.
Well, I used to tend to have repeats in my LPs.
Yeah.
Because they would always get scratched or skipped, and then.
Okay. Also, you see, it was mechanical, and you easily can do dock, and then you have a scratch, and you every turn dock, dock, dock.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know that Tom Hampson bought Lenny's LP collection, and I can't imagine how many skips and scratches are in that.
Okay,
one.
This is, yeah.
'Cause
That's possible.
he wasn't a graceful LP player.
Yeah. Okay, like if I see him now in front of me when he tried to go from the first movement to another movement, I think the LP was not liking this kind
No,
of
I don't
movement.
think so.
I guess so.
Yeah. So it's just great to have you here. It's been really wonderful to work on this. I can't wait to see the finished product.
Yeah, it was for me also interesting, and it was also a challenge, I have to say.
Yeah, we did it in live
and I have to say, it turned out sound-wise pretty good, and with the music, Hua was in charge.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice, and what's also very nice in a venue like this, that you listen to takes, and immediately you can say, maybe I can repeat this, I do this. So, and not, again, we come to editing, to have not this kind of little things together afterwards. We had 50 takes from this, and then you did another take, and maybe it was perfect. This is music for me, and I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, yesterday was a bit of a challenge. It's usually very quiet here, and yesterday was like truck day or something.
Yeah. Okay, this is if you for a week it's quiet, and you said, oh, let's do the recording on this week, and suddenly. Okay, it happens.
And every time the red light went on, another truck came by. So, but we got it done.
We got it done, and we got it done good.
Good,
very good.
Good. Well, Wolf-Dieter, it's been wonderful having you here, and thanks for coming and doing a Berlin conversation after all that work we did in the last couple of days.
Oh, it was a pleasure,
and it's been a wonderful friendship, and we had so many wonderful times in Vienna and Chicago and Israel,
and in the evening, nice food, and we was able to talk a lot of things. You maybe forgot a little, or I forgot, and then it came back to remember all these kind of little details we had during this kind of sessions.
We always looked forward to recording in Rome, because it was always such a nice place to be. So.
Okay, no, it was great to be here, and it looks like that we did some nice music, your music, recorded, and
Well, thank you, and great to see you, and we'll see each other soon, because I'm looking forward to the final CD.
Definitely in the next days. Let's see what I have to do. Maybe there's already some days to put everything together, and then you tell me the right order, and then.
Oh, and I have to come up with some titles.
Yeah,
you know that for me is the hardest. Writing the music isn't hard; it's the titles.
Okay, so
I mean, I can't get away with Nocturne Number 6, and you know now they want titles.
Okay, happily this is
my problem, not yours. So.
Okay, thanks, Craig.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you for joining me for a Berlin Conversations, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. And I look forward to seeing you at the next Berlin Conversation. And be sure you visit my website, www.craigurquhart.com, and you can go back and look at the archive of previous Berlin Conversations. And be sure to send me a note if you like these, and if you have some other ideas, I'd be happy to hear from you. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.